Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to this educational presentation of how to pinpoint your exit levels with the all-new range extension feature which is offered on our platform. Now a lot of people have difficulty with exits. In fact, it is one of the major problems most people have. They focus a lot on entering into a trade and then they realize that once they're in the trade, they're not really sure where to get out. Sometimes you get out a little bit too early. Sometimes you hold on to a position far too long and you get out too late. You've exited with a lot of the profits left on the table and then you wait and it's just a recipe for disaster when you have no plan in place. Well, let me share with you a great technique. One of the many techniques we offer at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies, but one now that is just automatically one click away on our platform. As you can see here in this example of PG, a buy signal was generated using one of our strategies. But where exactly would you get out? Because there are a number of exit points we have. Well, one of the simplest and easiest ways is to use our range extension exits. You would have known well in advance to place an order here to get out if the trade were profitable. And as you can see, a week or so later, it got right up to that level before it actually ran out of gas. And once again, this is all done quickly and easily by using our new platform. This is the PTS Primo Charts I designed with Pro Trader Strategies, the educational portal that teaches you how to trade. So this is going to be a great presentation today because you'll learn how to actually apply these range extensions to your trades, and you can just see how well they can help you with your trading. Welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies where we developed the platform and we came up with all these courses and ideas simply to educate you. That's our only goal, not to force feed you signals, not to tell you what the perfect market is or the perfect time frame, but to educate you so that you can decide for yourself what time frame you want to trade, what market you want to trade, when you want to enter, when you want to exit. And we give you all these different variables by teaching you what exactly they are. We don't have a black box. We teach everything. But then we give you the option to decide which variable you like to use. Would you like to use a range extension exit? Would you like to use an exit that relies on an indicator? Would you like to just basically follow the trade and let the market take you out? There's different variables. Today we're going to be talking about one of them, which is our range extensions. So today I'm going to show you a lot of different examples, how to apply it on our platform. But before we begin, as always, we're first required by law to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using our range extensions and the tool in which you can apply it. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And also please remember that all examples I'm about to display are strictly for educational purposes only. So once again, we're required by law to share this with you. So as you're taking a moment to view our disclaimer, I would also like to take this time to invite each and every one of you to follow us on Twitter. I know a lot of you have already done so, but if you haven't, probably the best thing is to copy down our handle right there. That's the abbreviation for Specialist Trading, at SPCLSTTRADG. I post different information on a daily basis, sometimes more than others, but usually I'll post a couple of things a day, minimum, anywhere from signals that our strategies have generated to little bits of financial wisdom, a lot of free information and educational information, so feel free to follow us on Twitter. Okay, with that said, once again, excuse me, the purpose of Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies, once again, is simply to teach you. I've been trading for 41 years now, and if there's one thing I have known and noticed in my 4 decades of trading, it's that traders love to basically take themselves out of the game. What I mean by that is that you want to rely on someone in a chat room or some master class that you spend $10,000 for, or some earnings report or some guy on TV to tell you what to do. I mean, that to me is a recipe for disaster. If it works so well, the entire industry is based on you going to a chat room, on you listening to news, on you finding out what the institutions are doing. If all of that based on an outside source works so well, then why is it estimated that 80% of all traders fail? It's because it really doesn't work that well. There's really no consistency in that. So the only thing that can really be the foundation for a consistent trader, someone that can be trading not just having a good year and then get blown out the year after, but someone who can trade 20, 30, 40 years down the road, is solid fundamental education, things that have stood the test of time. And then that education allows you to be in charge of your own trading. In my 41 years of trading, this is the only way one becomes a consistent trader. Not by relying on someone else to tell them how to trade, but by you making your own decisions. So that's why Pro Trader Strategies and I developed the platform, and that's why we developed Specialist Trading, so that we could educate you so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions. The only way you can do this is through sound fundamental education. So as you see here, my goal is not to force feed you signals. My goal is not to tell you we have a perfect trading system that never fails and all you have to do is follow the buy and sell orders. We don't believe in that. My goal is to teach you how to trade. See, a good mentor does not trade for you or tell you what to buy or sell. A good mentor teaches you how to trade so that you can make your own decisions. This is what my mentors taught me some 41 years ago and why I believe I'm still able to trade 41 years later. Hopefully, it will be able to do the same for you. So this is going to be a really informative classroom today. Once again, you'll see how much attention to detail we give you in wanting to teach you. But as with all classes, I ask that you please leave the last 15 minutes for questions, okay? I know a lot of instructors on webinars like to stop at every slide for a question, but I don't want to take all of your day here answering questions. So if you often wait for the next slide, your question will be answered. So please wait till the very end of class to ask questions. I see some people are already asking questions right now. We'll get to each and every one of them at the very end of the presentation. If you happen to have technical difficulties or if you have to leave early, don't worry. We're going to supply each and every one of you with a link to this recording, okay? So if you happen to join us later today, remember, ask the questions at the very end. I promise I'll get to them. We have a good-sized class here today, and I want to make sure that you get all the information. All right, with that said, why don't we begin today's educational presentation? So what exactly are range extensions? I know a lot of people have never heard of this concept before. Maybe some of you have, but you have the wrong information. It's not the proper way to determine what range extensions are. So let's take a refresher course and explain to you exactly what they are. All right, here's the definition of range extensions. First of all, you want to measure the range of the setup bar. Now, first of all, a lot of you may say, well, okay, well, what's a setup bar? A setup bar is the bar where everything comes together. You see, it does not matter what strategy, it does not matter what system, it does not matter what technique you're trading. But when you decide to buy or sell, it's based off of the rules, whatever they're based off of, all coming together. And they usually come together at the end of a bar. Now that bar could be a 5-minute bar, it could be a 2-hour bar, it could be a weekly bar. It makes no difference. But when you decide, okay, I want to buy that based off, let's say, some news, based off some indicator, based off the full moon, it makes no difference. It's usually at the end or the close of a bar. That's what we call the setup bar, all right, because it's setting up the trade. Now, what you want to do is measure that bar, the range of the bar. And another problem that students have, when we say range, we're not talking about open to close. For some reason, it's been misconstrued over the years that that's what range means. Range means from the top, the extreme top of the bar to extreme low of the bar. So if you're looking at candlesticks, it's the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick. That's what range means. It doesn't mean open to close. Range is the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick. So adding, subtracting that range to the top or bottom of the setup bar equals a 200% exit level. So let's say, in other words, your setup bar equals 1 point. You measure the range of the top to the bottom, and that comes out to 1 full point. Okay, so you simply add that on the very top of the setup bar. So let's say the top of the setup bar is 50. Well, then you'll add 1 point to that, so that 51 is your first exit. Okay, adding, subtracting that range again equals a 300% exit range. Okay, so add it again, so you'll exit at 200, and so on. That's just a very simple way of doing it. It takes a lot of calculation. Probably be best if you had a handheld calculator with you next to your screen whenever you're trading, so you can determine what the range is and then simply add it or subtract it. Now, obviously, if you're going short, you would subtract it from the low of the setup bar. So let me show you what that means here. Here's an example, okay, a generic example. Let's say this is your setup bar. Let's say it's based off of news, okay? So the news comes out at the end of the day, and you know what? You say, that's a buy signal. I like the earnings, or I like what's going on with the CEO of the company, whatever it is. And you say, I've got to buy this, all right? So we're not going to talk about entries. We're not going to talk about stop placement today. We're only talking about exits. So the first thing you want to do is, once you've determined what the setup bar is, where all the rules and requirements come into play, you measure that range from the top of the wick to the bottom, from the top of the bar to the bottom of the bar. That's your range. That equals 100%. All right? So whatever amount that is, if you're going long, if you're buying as we are in this example, you would simply double it. And that is your first exit level at the 200% range extension. And then if you want to get more bang for your buck, you would exit it at the 300. We can go to 400, we can go to 500. But at that point, we would normally say, listen, get out of the trade altogether, either at 400 or at 500. We always suggest our students in the very beginning to use these exit levels, which are 200 and 300. Remember, 100 equals the 100% of the setup bar. 200 is the first exit level. 300 is the next exit level. Now, there's lots of ways to trade this. All right. Once again, this is where we say you're in charge. We're not telling you how to trade. We're teaching you how to trade so you can decide for yourself. Now, a lot of students who like to trade and get in and out of price quickly say, well, you know, Steve, I entered at a very profitable trade. I'm the type of trader who doesn't like to stay in long. I like to trade a lot, get in and out quickly so I can move on to the next one. So then obviously you'd want to get out at the 200% exit level. If someone wants to base their trades off of risk reward, let's say you say, well, Steve, if I exit at the 200, that's not a very good risk reward ratio. I'm basically, you know, breaking even on my risk reward. It's 1 to 1. I'm making one to lose one. And over time, I really won't show a lot of profit for that. That's fine. Remember, we're not telling you how to trade. You decide. So if you like to base it off of risk reward, then maybe you'd want to get out at 300 or maybe even 400. Okay. Now, another way students like to trade is they say, well, Steve, I'll go up to 400, but when I get to this level right here, wherever my stop is, I move it up to unchanged. That means if it runs out of gas and goes lower, at least I broke even. All right. And then if it goes up to 300, well, then wherever my stop is, I move it up to 200. So that means if it starts to go down south, at least I made a 100% range profit. So there's lots of different ways to do it. There's no one right or wrong way. That's why we don't keep statistics, because everyone, and we encourage everyone to trade this differently. It's trade it what makes you feel comfortable, to trade it to your needs, all right? So if you're the type of trader that likes risk-reward ratio, go for the higher extension exits. If you're the type of trader that wants to just get in and out quickly, just take the first exit level. It's that simple, but you have to decide, not me. So many students always say, Steve, where would you get out? Or where would you? I said, listen, you shouldn't try to mimic anyone in how you trade. That's a recipe for disaster. You should study this, paper trade, and then decide for yourself what feels natural to you. Now, as you can see here, eventually you were able to have a profit on either exit level you wanted to decide to use. Now, people say, well, Steve, what if I go short? What if I buy puts? What if I use this for options? Or what if I short the stock? You do the exact same process, you just reverse it. So let's say your system is based off of the tides of the ocean. All right, let's say you're basing it off with the system of the tides, okay? And it determines what the markets do. See, this makes no difference. We don't care what your strategy is based off of, because we're only talking about exits at this point. So the same thing, the setup bar is the bar where all the rules come into play and you say, okay, I'm deciding to go short now. All right, so however you want to enter, wherever you want to place your stop is up to you. We're not discussing that in today's presentation. We're discussing where is a nice place to exit. Now, we have numerous exits at Specialist Trading that don't even rely on the range extension. We're just sharing one of them with you today. Okay, so you'd measure the range from top to bottom. This is the setup bar. So this is 100% because it's 100% range of the setup bar. Now, since we're going short, and remember, it's up to you how you decide how to go short, not me. If you want to buy puts, if you want to go short the stock, you are in charge. I know this is a difficult concept for a lot of people to really take in, because you're always taught differently. You're always taught, well, Steve, I thought you were supposed to tell me exactly where to get in, where to get out. No, that's up to you. Now, we give you different references in the courses, but ultimately you've got to decide for yourself what makes you feel comfortable, because I want you to become a consistent trader. That's the only way you can do it. You can't do it by following what I do. All right, so we measure the range from top to bottom, 100%. We subtract it once, that gives us our 200%. We subtract it again, that gives us our 300%. And as we can see, the trade ultimately was successful. So once again, you could have taken the quick trade here and exited right here, covered your short. You could have covered your short all the way down here. A lot of students like to do it in bits and pieces. If you have multiple positions, say you have 2 puts, well, you cover one put right here, you exit another put right here. Or you could say, well, once we get here, I know that this is going to be my exit. So if things turned around, I'm going to at least break even. Or once we get down to this level, I'm going to move my stop down to here. There's lots of different ways. You have to decide. Now remember, this is all done easily on our platform. As you can see, I just gave you a refresher course, and not a very in-depth one, but I give you the basic beginner's course to range extensions, all right? So we teach you how to use this, but even though we have it automatically for you on our platform, it's one click away, you have to know what you're doing. This is not a black box. So we teach you everything you need to know about trading, and then you can decide for yourself with one click on our platform. Let me show you how simple it is. Let's show you some range extension examples and show you exactly how simple. And some of these are older. We'll show you some other ones that just happened within the last few weeks. All right, here's that PG example once again. A buy signal was generated using one of our strategies. I believe this is strategy number 5. Okay. We're confirming it with the PET-D. Now, we're not talking about the PET-D today, but the PET-D is a color bar system that confirms. If you get a buy signal, you want that to be colored green. If you get a sell signal, you want it to be colored red. So this is confirming it. So we're going to go long this trade here. Now, this is a strategy 4 setup. Excuse me, I had the wrong setup. So you simply click on strategy 4. Now you click on range extension. Now you know how range extensions are formatted, but you don't need to have your calculator. All you have to do is click on range extensions, and we'll give you the most basic ones right here, the 200 and the 300. You can decide which one you want to take, but it's already right there for you. Even before you enter the trade, you know automatically where these exits are. There's exit number 1. If you wanted to get a quick trade, you could have gotten in and out in a couple of days. If you decided to go for exit number 2, well, it's as simple as waiting a week later, and you could have gotten out there. Now, we always instruct our students in the very beginning to use these 2 exits, exits 1 or 2, any way you can, only because they're a good way to paper trade, and also many times you'll see that you run out of gas somewhere along these lines here. So you don't want to stay in the trade too long and then all of a sudden have it falter and turn into a loss. Also, remember, you could move your stop up to exit number 1 level once you got up to exit number 2 level and try to ride it. I'll show you some examples of that later in the presentation. Now here's a sell signal in OI, an older sell signal, and once again I believe this is strategy number 4. As you see here, it is confirmed by the PET-D. It's colored red. So this is a valid signal to go short using one of our strategies, but you can use this range extension on any strategy. I'm just sharing with you one of our strategies and techniques. We click on strategy 4. It's as simple as just clicking on range extensions, exits, and there you have the basic ones, 200 and 300. Had you taken the very first one, well, it would have taken you a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, but you would have ultimately exited there with a nice trade. If you waited for the larger exit, well, about a month later, you would have finally exited. But you see how it ran out of gas and the trend started to move up. Here's another buy signal, FISV. It's colored green by the PET-D. Here are the 2 basic exits, exit number 200 and exit 300 range extension. The first one is for the traders who like to trade in and out quickly. You're not concerned with risk-reward ratio, so you would have said, okay, I'm out in 2 or 3 days. I got a nice profit. See you later. Thank you. Where if you wanted to wait a little longer, you go for exit number 2. Here's a sell example in ALL. It's colored red by our PET-D, which once again, I know a lot of you may have questions about. We're not going to be speaking about that today. I'm just sharing with you one of our strategies, which really has a high probability for success because it's a strategy and then it's also a color bar which confirms it. So if you get a sell signal, you want that bar to be red. As you can see here, this bar was green. You wouldn't have got a sell signal on this or it would not have been confirmed. But this one was. So it's okay to take this trade according to this particular strategy. You would click on the range extension exits, and here they are. Here's range extension exit number 1, number 2. And as you can see, both would have ultimately been filled. Remember, there's different ways to trade this. Let's say you place your stop up here above the nearest short-term high, and you enter it on the close, all right? Now, once you exited at 1, you're out of the trade. But let's say you wanted more bang for your buck. Well, once you got to exit placement level number 1, what you could do is move this stop to break even where you entered. All right? So at this point right here, your stop has moved down to here. This means if you would have gone back up, if that's all the downward pressure there was, you would not have lost anything. That's one way to protect yourself, one way to use money management. That's one way to trade this. Another way would say, if let's say you had just, hypothetically shorted 200 shares. All right. At extension number 1, you would have covered 100 shares, perhaps moved this stop to break even, and waited to cover the remainder at extension number 2. Okay. Another way to do it would say, well, we're just going to use these as stop placements. Once we get down to exit 1, I move my stop to unchanged. Once we get to 2, I move my stop down to the 200 level. If we got down to 300, I move my stop, so on and so forth, as we just ride the trade down. It's entirely up to you. There is no wrong way to trade this. The only wrong way to trade that I've discovered in 4 decades of trading is, once again, when you blindly follow someone or something else. That will lead you over a cliff. Remember, that's the way the entire industry is based off of. Going to a chat room, subscribing to a signal service, listening to the so-called gurus tell you what to buy or sell on a daily basis on TV, or following the institutions. There is absolutely no consistency in these things. Every once in a while, they will hit it perfectly. But remember, we don't want you to have one great trade and then to give it all back the next month. We want you to be trading 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. And the only way, in my opinion, to do that is by making your own decisions. Now, the reason why most people don't make their own decisions is because they're not given the proper education to make to base their decisions off of. So that's what we do. Pro Trader Strategies and myself have come up with this platform to make it simple for you, to give you all these different variables so that you can have them placed in front of you and decide and say, I want to take this exit. I want to take this entry. I want to decide to take this stop placement. Someone else could get the same signal and say, you know what, I'm deciding to take this entry. I'm going to take this short-term exit. I'm going to take this larger risk stop placement. There is no one wrong way to trade. The only wrong way to trade is when you let someone trade for you. Now, here's something that just happened recently. This was like in the last month of October. A buy signal was generated in Starbucks, SBUX. In fact, it's been in the news as of late, but I wanted to share with you how our strategies can oftentimes generate some nice signals before some news comes out. All right, so we had a buy signal generated roughly about 2-3 weeks ago. It's colored green by the PTS. So our particular strategy, which we call the dynamic duo, has generated a valid buy setup here. Now, once again, there are many ways to enter. We teach you in the course. We're just basically, let's just say we entered on the close, okay? Now, we place our stop. Let's say we placed our stop just below the setup bar, which is one of our basic stop placements, just below the setup bar, okay? So we now want to click on the range extensions. Let's say we really feel strongly that this is going to have a large move. We feel that our research, or just by tracking this stock, it's going to have a big move. So we don't want to just get out of it level range extension level 1 or even range extension level 2. So we have also provided you different levels. These are the highest we go. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is when you think there's going to be a big move, okay? So you've entered the stock somewhere down here, okay, off of that buy signal, which I believe is roughly about 56, 57 level. And you can get out roughly about 62.78, so that's good 5-6 points profit you're looking for, all right? Whether you buy options, whether you actually buy the stock, it's up to you. You're in charge. But that's a buy signal. So in other words, we're putting a spotlight on a very high probability place to enter. How you decide to enter, what vehicle you want to choose to go long is up to you. So as we can see, look what happened. We quickly went up to exit level number 1 in just a few days, remember? So if you're a type of trader who wanted to get in and out quickly, you'd use either 1 or 2. But then there was some news that came out actually yesterday. And don't ask me what it is because I don't follow news, but our strategies generated a buy signal a good 3 weeks ago. So before the news came out, we knew that the stock wanted to go higher. Why? Because it was telling us it wants to go higher. So that's all we listened to. So let's say you had decided that this really was going to go much higher. Well, you could have used exit number 4 and exited at all of your amount of shares at that level for a good 6 points or so profit in just about a month, okay? Now, even though the market was getting killed this last month, it's been going straight down, we still generated a nice buy signal. Now, what if you wanted to trade in sync with the market? Well, Let's look at Amazon, all right? I know this is expensive stock, $1,800 stock. Let's say you bought puts or maybe even one share, but let's say you're just tracking it. You use this as a market directional tool. Well, in the middle of October, we generated a sell signal. Now, this was a valid sell signal because our pet D colored it red, okay? So if you had account size large enough to trade this, or if you were able to trade options and buy puts on this, okay, well, it's a nice setup here. It's validated. And let's say you thought there was going to be a big move. After all, this is a very volatile stock. It's an expensive stock, so it's not just going to go 1 or 2 points. It's going to really move a lot. So you want to use the full gamut of our extensions. You're not going to just rely on extension exit 2, 3. You're going to look for 4 and 5. Okay? So, as we can see, eventually what happened coming into the end of October, just in a couple of weeks, we got down to exactly exit number, this was actually exit number 4. I should say exit number 5, because this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is incorrectly marked. But that's your final exit, because we don't want to really go after that. We have seen that many times once you get to this exit level, which is the ultimate final exit level, the trend changes, as it did these last couple of days coming into November. So you don't want to give back a lot of your profit. So we always suggest to our students, if you want to get the most bang for your buck, take the extreme exit level, which is actually exit level number 5. All right. Once you're beginning, though, when you're just starting to use this, use the first 2, because those are the most basic. If you want to be a trader who gets in and out quickly, use the first exit level. If you want to get more bang for your buck, if you like to base your trades off of risk-reward ratio, use the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then if you want to get the most bang for your buck, use the 5th. Now, another way to trade this, once again, once you get down to this level, you could have taken partial profits, and then ultimately taken all profits at these levels. There are a number of ways to trade it. Our only goal is simply to teach you. You know, just as an instructor gives you different variables, different ways in which to calculate and resolve the problem, it's up to you to decide which formula you want to use. It's the same way with us. There are many ways to get to profits. There are many ways to be consistent. But ultimately, you have to decide which way you want to apply. Now, you can also apply this to other markets. Let's look at some older charts. Here's one, an hour chart in the E-mini futures. This was a buy signal that was generated. It was also confirmed using our PET D tool. It was colored green. We click on strategy 4. All you have to do is click on the range extensions. You know what they're based off now. You know how to measure these, but guess what? You don't have to do the hard work. We've taken all the hard work out of it for you. It's one click away, and you can see the first 2 range extensions right there because of the size of the chart. Exit level number 1 was reached about, I'd say about a day later, and then a day after that, you reach exit level number 2. And this is why we say in the beginning, you know, use these as you're starting to learn this, because many times the trend will dissipate after exit level number 2. So you don't want to be sitting there and give away a lot of your profit. Here's another example in the currency pairs. The Canadian dollar generated a buy signal. You have the initial exit levels right here. You reach the first one in a matter of weeks, and the second one was reached a week later. This is in the beginning. We want you to just focus on these first 2 exit levels because oftentimes the trend dissipates after that. Okay, so let's recap, and then we can go into questions. I'm sure a lot of you have questions about this. Remember, the way you construct an extension exit, because we're not just, once again, sharing a black box with you saying like, don't worry, we have all the answers. All you have to do is click on this and we tell you where to exit. That goes entirely against our philosophy. We are educators. We are teachers. We're not in any way telling you just blindly shut your eyes and take this exit. We don't believe in that. That goes against everything we teach. So what we're doing is teaching you how to do this. You can construct this on your own right now. In fact, go back and do your research. Go back and see if this could have worked for you in some of your winning trades, if you would have gotten a better exit using the range extensions. All you have to do is measure the range of the setup bar. Most strategies, most systems are based off of a setup bar. That's where all the rules come into play. That's where all the indicators line up, or that's where all the news events are fully what's called met, and they meet your requirements. And that end of that bar, when that bar closes, that's your setup bar. That's when you decide, okay, I'm going long, or I have to go long on the close or so. All you want to do is measure the range of that. And the range is not the open to close. The range is the extreme high to the extreme low of that bar. Now, it does not matter if you trade intraday bars, if you trade 5-minute bars. It does not matter if you trade weekly bars. You're still going to have a setup bar. All right. So if you're trading a weekly bar, measure the range of that weekly bar from top to bottom. You're going to do the exact same thing just as if it were a 5 or 10 minute bar. Measure the range. If you're going long, whatever amount of range that is, let's say it's 10 points. Let's say you're looking at a weekly bar and the range from top to bottom is 10 points. You simply add that on top of that bar. That's your first exit level. If you want to get in and out quickly, you would use that. Let's say you want to go for a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. Well, then you would add it again. You go for a 20-point game. Okay? It's as simple as that. That's how simple this is. You can continue adding them on, but as you saw, we would only use roughly 4 or 5 exit levels before it's ultimately too much to hope to gain. You want to be able to capture some profits without holding on too long and then seeing your profits turn into a loss. Now, remember, if you're going short, you would do the opposite. You would subtract the range of the setup bar, and then you would simply subtract that level and below the setup bar's low. So, as we conclude here, before you ask me questions, let me ask you a question. Do you think this tool could have helped your trading this past year? Go back and look at your last 5, 10 trades, okay? Now, if they were profitable, could they have helped you? So many students always email me and say, gosh, Steve, I love your strategies and techniques and stuff, but before I took them, I had the biggest problem. I would stay in a trade too late, and I'd have a nice profit, and then it would dwindle away, and then I'd either break even or turn it into a loss. Or else a trader would say, Steve, before I took your courses, my strategy actually worked pretty well, but I would get out too quickly. I would be too scared that I was going to lose money, so I'd get out really quickly, and then it would turn into a huge, huge profit, and I would sit there on the sidelines watching it go higher and higher and higher. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Okay. What if you had these range extensions, not while the trade was going on, but even before you knew where they were, before you even entered into the trade? This is a great tool that now you know how to construct on your own. But guess what? It's one click away. So you think we could have helped you this past year with your current trading? Well, we have a great offer for you today where we've taken all of the work out for you. Once again, we're going to offer you our PTS Primo Charting platform, which has the range extensions, a 30-day trial, only $7. Automatic range extensions, so you can know regardless of what technique you're using, you can know exactly where you would be exiting. Now, it just doesn't come with the exit. You're also going to get the proprietary entry, exit, and trending tools. You're also going to get our enhanced buy-sell line. This is our overall trend tool that tells you what's the right side of the market to be on. You're going to also get a trend identifier, which is the top bottom 25%, which is based off of a pattern recognition. And it's a short-term trend identifier. This comes with a signal scanner as well. You can scan for signals. You can scan for these top bottom 25%. You can scan for the proprietary buy-sell line. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators. You can experiment with them as well. And then Bloomberg TV, once again, news and fundamental information is not required in any of our strategies, but we're not going to sit here and tell you that you can't look at it because that would go against our philosophy. If you're very successful using news or it helps you trade, then go ahead by all means. And guess what? We have incorporated that into the platform. One click away on our media page, you get free live Bloomberg TV. Any news event, any fundamental report, as it comes out live, you'll be able to see. And then lastly, personalized tech support. Anytime you have an issue with loading up a chart or not knowing exactly how to use a tool, just contact our tech support. We'll be there to answer any question that you may have, okay? A 30-day trial, try it for yourself, only $7. You'll see how great this is, and you'll see how it can really help you, especially with this exit tool, okay? So here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the platform with them. You can either email them at trading@protraderstrategies.com or call them directly if you have more questions about the platform at area code 310-598-6677. Now that link at the very bottom of the screen will take you directly to the sign up page, but that's not a live link. You'd have to copy and paste that onto your browser. We've made it simple for you so you don't have to do that, or if you don't know how to copy and paste something, just go to your chat box right now. Go to Webinar, it has a column on the far right. It should say chat there towards the bottom. All you have to do in that box, you'll see a link has been posted there. Click that on and it will take you to the $7 sign up page. Okay, so as promised, we are at the end of today's presentation. I told you it wouldn't be that long, and I promised I would answer your questions at the end. So let me just check here right now and see what some of these questions are. Peter says, is there a monthly fee? Thanks. Yes, there is, but you're going to get a full month for $7. And then it's up to you to decide if you want to continue. Now, the fee after that, I believe, is still very inexpensive. It's only $97. And you still get other features included in that. It's only $97. And I think Pro Trader Strategies may have some other discounts as well where it's even less expensive. So I would say contact them. There's no obligation. You can still get that $7 trial offer and then decide for yourself at the end of 30 days whether you want to continue or not. Now, I just have to say, through our testimonials and through students of what they've told me through email, that they continue to stay on because they've never seen tools like this. They always have the standard, okay, well, we're following the institutions, or we're basing this on volume, or we're looking at supply and demand, or Fibonacci. These are tools that most people don't use. These are tools that I've accumulated in 4 decades from my experience on the floor and my own trading experience. So there's lots of great information here, and we have tutorials. Most students that do take the offer have stayed with us over the 30 days. So if you're interested in the pricing and maybe some further discounts, contact Pro Trader Strategies, okay? Emma asked, do you have access to the Canadian stocks? Yes, we do, Emma. In fact, we just got some new upgrades on our platform, which gives you access to such markets as mutual funds, commodities, Canadian stocks, Indian stocks. So there's lots of different data. If you have more questions about that, though, to be more specific, once again, email, or probably the best thing would be to contact Pro Trader Strategies via that phone number you have right in front of you, because they can probably answer it better. See, the way we've structured our companies is that all of the teaching and all the strategies and all the usage of our platform is answered directly through me, and so you have communication with me. All of the discounts, all of the data, all of the tech support is handled through Pro Trader Strategies. So they would be the ones to contact about that. Dave is asking, is there a buy signal now for Spiders, Apple, and Amazon? Well, I can't give out that information. Firstly, because I don't have live charts in front of me. I'd have to look at them. The best thing I've always taught, Dave, if you're a student of mine, I'm sorry, I have literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of students around the world. So I'm sorry if you are. I can't keep track of everyone, but you should know by now if there are buy signals generated. So Dave, if you're a student of mine and you've been a student for a while and you don't know whether a signal has been generated, you have to go back and research, because everything is taught right off the bat in the courses, okay? If not, I'll give you just one clue. And I've talked about this in the presentations before on our Saturday, so I'm not giving away anything for those people of you who are students of mine. But always ask yourself, where is price in relation to the 50-period moving average, okay? So apply a 50-period moving average to the Spiders, to Apple, and to Amazon. If price is above, then only buy signals will be generated. Doesn't mean you buy at the market, just means only buy signals will be generated. But if price is below, you cannot have a buy signal. So that's a little clue there for all of you. If you're students of mine or not, that's the first thing we teach. Where is price in relation to the 50-period moving average? You cannot have a buy signal if price is closing below the 50-period. Over time, that simple rule will save you and get you to be such a consistent trader, okay? Go back and look at your last 10 trades, okay? 10, 20 trades. Most likely, you're buying below the 50-period and selling above. And every once in a while, you'll catch a nice trade, but there's no consistency in that. It's like going to the slot machines in Vegas, I always say. Every once in a while, you get a winner. All the bells and whistles will go off, all the lights will go off, and you hear all the sounds. And you'll think, hey, I'm making money, I'm doing well. But if you stay at the slot machines long enough, over time, they're designed to give you a winner every once in a while, because ultimately, the odds are in their favor. You're not going to make any money staying at the slot machine. In fact, it's the worst statistics in any gaming machine there is in Vegas. It's the same way with buying below and selling above the 50-period. Every once in a while, you'll get a nice hit, you'll get a nice signal. But over time, you'll have nothing to show for it. Take it from someone who used to trade that way. It doesn't work, okay? Let's see, KS is asking, could you explain what triggered your entry into the trades you showed specifically, or could you go back to Amazon and tell what entry you would look for now? Well, I'm sorry, KS, I know you're a student, but I just can't go over it because first of all, we're not talking about that today. And then secondly, I would have to go into the entire workings of that particular strategy. I believe it was strategy number 4. I can just give you one rule. Remember, the reason why there was a sell signal in Amazon was because it was below the 50 period. That's the first rule of any strategy we have. The reason why there was a buy signal in Starbucks was because it was above the 50 period. All right, so we're looking for those two things first. So use that in any way to determine whether you should be buying or selling. Okay. Yes, they do have live charts as well. Someone was asking, is there a live data feed? If we purchase any of these strategies, are they downloads on a CD or just on the platform? And can I use this on other platforms like TradeStation, eSignal, Fidelity, E-Trade, etc.? Great question, Jerome. First of all of our courses are online. So it's as simple. You don't have to wait for a strategy to be delivered for you. You don't have to wait if that strategy or if that CD doesn't work and you know it's faulty and you need a new one. You get it in a matter of seconds. But remember, these are strategies. What I taught you today is something that is just one click away on our platform. For $7, you know exactly where to exit using whatever strategy you want. So that's, you know, those are not strategies. A full-fledged strategy is a plan that tells you where to buy, it tells you where to sell, it tells you where to exit, it gives you all these different variables. Today, all we talked about was just one piece of the puzzle, which was the exit, which you can apply to anything. Now, let's say you like to use other platforms. Sure, you can get the add-ons of the strategies, strategy 4, strategy 5, strategy 8, and you can add them on to the other platforms like eSignal, like TradeStation, like Metastock, like MT4, like Sierra Charts, like NinjaTrader. But you're not going to get the ease of use and you're not going to get just the benefits of the platform. You'll see it's all in the platform. So once you become a student of mine by purchasing a strategy, you'll get the platform and you'll see how simple it is to use that platform. You know, most of our students, if they're used to, let's say, using TradeStation, well, since this is an educational platform, they'll get all their ideas by doing their research on our platform, and then they just toggle back to TradeStation to their entries, okay? So it's just, you can have both charts live and happening at the same time. It's really simple. The best thing I would say is try the $7 offer. We're not here to rip you off. $7, I'm sure most of you can afford that. You've probably spent more than that this last week in losses maybe you had. $7 is nothing for 30 days of information that's taken me basically 41 years to accumulate. Okay. How do I find your exits with my charting platform? Well, I'm not sure, Rick, what charting platform you're using. Contact Pro Trader Strategy. That sounds more like a tech support question. I would contact them, okay? Dave asks, can you set up alerts on your phone for these strategies? Well, first of all, if you need an alert on your strategy, that's like imagine a doctor saying, listen, give me an alert when the guy's, the brain surgeon, saying, give me an alert when he starts hemorrhaging and then I'll go into the operating room. It's a very risky way to be a brain surgeon. You should be there while that's happening. It's the same way with trading. If you're trading, depending on what type of trader you are, if you're an intraday trader, you should be in front of your chart all the time. If you're a regular trader, like looking at daily or weekly bars, you don't need to be in front of that. You can just basically know that your exit level is at, let's say, 55, and then you'll be able to find out at the end of the day. But once again, that's a tech support question. I believe they do have that capability, but that would be something that you would ask Pro Trader Strategies, okay? Remember, as I said earlier, I handle all of the teaching and education. So if you want to know what something is based off of, like I shared with you just a few minutes ago about buy signals can only be entered above the 50, sells can only be entered below, things of that nature, contact me and I can answer directly. Things of a nature of tech support, can I get it on another platform? What type of data do you get for the Canadian markets? I can answer some of those most basically, but the real informative answers can come through Pro Trader Strategies. And once again, you can call them directly or email them. There's absolutely no, type of obligation in any way to buy something. They'll be happy to answer because we're an educational company. We're both educational companies. We want to educate you. So it's not in our best interest to rip you off. We're not here to do that the way some other companies do, where they say, well, the only way to find out is by buying our $2,000 system. No, we don't believe in that. We're trying to show you in good faith that we want to educate you by only offering you, a $7 charge. That's it. So for 30 days, check it out for yourself. I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised with all the information there, tools, techniques that you've never even heard of that floor traders use. Myself, I've been using for a good time, okay? Niels asks, on your website, the portfolio display shows super trend rating. Why don't you show the prior day's rating so that the changes are immediately shown? This would be very useful. Oh, sure. Well, we'll contact the programmers and see if we can put that in. This is just, we're constantly updating and reprogramming the platform to make it simple for you. And as you can see by the features, the one we talked about today, this is a brand new feature we have to make it simple. Sure, we'll talk to the programmers and see if we can do that. So it would help, and if it helps people using the portfolio, we also have a portfolio display where you can plug in a user list or watch list of the stocks you're trading, and you can see where they are, and that platform can be programmed by either a watch list that we provide for you, or you can make your own watch list of the 5 or 10 stocks you like to trade. Lots of great free information. Thank you, Neil, for that question, because you just showed all the great features we have. I didn't even talk about the portfolio display, which is another great feature. And also there's a super trending tool, which is another great feature. Thank you for bringing that up. These are all things you'll get in the $7 free trial. So we're just about at the end here. I want to thank you for holding off on any questions. Listen, if you're really wondering whether you should try this, think of the $7. You'll probably go out to lunch today on a Saturday. You're going to spend close to $15, $20 just for lunch for 2 people. You're going to get over 40 years of education for $7, and that'll last you a good 30 days. Then you can decide for yourself if you want to continue or not. So thank you for waiting to ask questions. They're all great questions. Anything that has to do with tech support, I would relate to Pro Trader Strategies. There's absolutely no obligation. They would be happy to answer any question. And remember, $7, it's up to you. If you want to really improve your trading, isn't it worth more than $7? So take the chance on just a small amount of money to get this information that has stood the test of time. As we conclude here, I want to say thank you so much for attending this Saturday morning presentation. I hope you learned a little bit out from it. And I want to thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine and members of the PTS Primo Charting platform. Thank you again. Be sure to contact Pro Trader Strategies with any discount or any price questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.